Welcome to For Felliness, belysning.
You are not broken,
You are out of balance.
and there is a path home.
This is For Felliness, belysning,
From the Alaska ulfhednar,
ancestral morning light for those
who have been through hell.
and are still standing.
This nonprofit has a sliding scale guidance
At alaskaulfhednar.org/guidance.
for felliness belly snake.
Begins now.
Every day, someone's little girl, daughter, sister, girlfriend, fiance, wife, cousin, mother, auntie, grandmother, great grandmother, elder disappears, shattering a family, a community, the world. There is something we can all do. Remember them.
God Morgan, I hope this has been a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you have rejuvenated and recharged your batteries ready for this week as we celebrate Mani's Day today. Of course, Mani being the god, the moon represented in reality. So today I want to talk about Yggdrasil, the tree that is in the center of all life. It is the absolute moment, and I want to talk about certainly my great grandmother's understanding of Yggdrasil and how and why it meant so much to many individuals throughout the Norse peoples. So we'll talk about it. But before we do, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all of you who have liked, followed, and subscribed us on whatever platform you happen to be listening or viewing us on. I am incredibly appreciative. So I do want to give a shout out to KWWP Nonprofit Radio here in Anchorage, providing you sounds and certainly the language of recognizing and embracing our ancestry. So critical and so important that we understand who and what we are at our most basic core. So a wonderful, wonderful group of people. The other group of people, obviously, a huge collection of spiritual perspectives. That's New Reality TV. NewRealityTV.com, obviously, a streaming channel dedicated to providing many different perspectives of our spiritual paths. Obviously, all unique to each and every one of us, but it's each and every one of those perspectives that provides us with a better overview of our own journey. So, check them out. Again, newrealitytv.com. Wonderful collection that you will find something that resonates with you and makes you, helps you to understand your unique spiritual journey. So today I want to talk about Yggdrasil. Before I do, I also need to give a huge shout out, momentary shout out to Mountain Rose Herbs. Mountain Rose Herbs, for those of you who haven't heard of them or checked them out, please do so. All of my healings and my herbs that I use throughout my day and my life I come from Mountain Rose Herbs. They are the highest quality products beyond a doubt. They wonderful delivery and just quality assurance beyond above and beyond. So check them out, Mountain Rose Herbs. You can check them out as well as all of our other wonderful affiliates at our affiliates page, which is located at akumedia.akoutlaw.com/sponsors. So check them out. Wonderful collection, even if for culinary needs. I mean, so it's just a wonderful collection. So check them out. So today we're talking about the Ash of Yggdrasil. one of the things that has always, I guess, provided me with a level of comfort is this idea of a central tree of the universe that within its branches contain the nine realms. Now, it's really critical that we read the sagas, and when we read the sagas, we know that there's a lot of information that's gleaned from this center tree of life. Obviously, the Bifrost, as we move between realms, nestled in its branches, to the even down to the lands of Helheim, located near the roots. Every piece of Yggdrasil played a pretty important part in our everyday lives. We know we've spoken before about the legends of Odin when he would drink from the well, one of the wells that contained the roots of Yggdrasil. We talked about him gaining all of these life's experiences through that one drink. And many times people have asked me, well, how does that even work? Well, I want to tell a momentary story about what my grandparents, great grandparents, told me about this tree of Yggdrasil, which really plugs in fairly well to some other studies and some other understandings of energy throughout the universe. So the first thing they told me is, well, Yggdrasil is huge. It's gargantuan in its stance in the center of our our whole existence. Huge and super important. But what they said was that Yggdrasil carried essentially the energy of existence. So all life was connected to Yggdrasil. And as a young man and not fully understanding how that worked, I asked, how? How can we be connected to a tree? And so my grandparents would go on to describe this momentary vision where I thought of myself, and I ask you to do the same. I thought of myself as a leaf connected to a tree, a singular leaf. In a vast tree, collections of leaves in a multitude of places. I connected to a branch. Along my branch were my physical ancestors, were my great grandmothers, my great grandfathers, my great 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 great, and so on and so forth, all the way down. my whole my whole existence, my whole family tree, my whole physical family tree. As a leaf, as an individual leaf, I would have a center stem and then veins that come out from that center stem that would fulfill me. I would later associate this stem with the energy stream of the universe that comes into us from what's called chakra. The chakra are merely spinning gates that exist in our bodies in several locations. The primary being our crown chakra. The crown chakra was purely that. It is the moment that energy enters into our physical form. It is the moment that we connect then to this tree called Yggdrasil. This energy then would then transport down on a center energy stream on this stem, and along the way it would hit I call them veins. So we have center stream, and then poof, it goes out like this. At each place that those veins are connected to our stem, we have a gate, and that gate is what was referred to as the chakra. The chakras spin, and as they spin, they distribute energy in a multitude of directions, down the vein and continuing on in the spine, arriving ultimately at our root chakra. Now, that's not to say that energy can't come directly into the root chakra. This is simply our stem. This is what's feeding us from Yggdrasil. My stem is connected, as I said, to a branch. That branch is represented in my physical life as my elders and my ancestors. They're all along this branch as well. Now, siblings, parents, all of them are connected, right? Each time a parental group, great grandmother and great grandfather, got together and made offspring, the branch split. Not a bad thing, not at all. And then each individual or each following generation would then connect to that branch. That branch would weed up into where it hit the grandparents, and it would continue on that way until it reached the tree Yggdrasil. The traffic, the energy that's moving to us and from us, happens in the same way. So our energy is brought into us from Yggdrasil. It comes in through the chakras, through the crown chakra and the third eye and the throat chakra and the heart chakra, and down and down and down. Right? So it's hitting all these chakras. At the same time, the chakra is spinning, energy is coming into the chakra and then back up through this energy stem that is within each of us. That energy stem then transmits the energy or the experience from us back into the branch, back up, back, all the way back to Yggdrasil itself. Now, Yggdrasil then moves in much the same way as it moves these roots into these different wells. There were 3, according to legend, and in these roots that are dripping into the well, the same interface is occurring. So Yggdrasil provides a reflection of all of its experiences into the water of the well, and then draws from the well energy it needs to be successful, to continue to grow, to continue to heal itself and maintain. So this is energy. Now you're saying, well, what does that really have to do with me as an individual? Well, your experiences that we've spoken about many, many times, how they're going to come into our sensory input, and they're going to go through our mood ring, and they're going to go through the well of the self, through the body and biochemistry, into the horn of feeling, just after passing through the recipe card, out of the horn of feeling into the me gate, and from the me gate we decide what enters into our memory. Well, our memory is split between our physical self and our spiritual self. They both use this thing called memory. In these memories are captured our interpretation of our experience. So we remember from our conversation where things are converted as they're brought in. Our eyes may be damaged, our eyes may not have caught the whole scene, whatever the case. Sensory input altered, mood ring altered. Well, the self has virtues, values, and belief systems that may be incredibly unique, because remember, not only are they DNA based, they're also spiritually based. So our beliefs can be as unique, if not more so, than we are ourselves. The conversion process to the biochemistry, the interpretation of the biochemistry, the body's alteration of that biochemistry before it arrives at the recipe card, the way we manage the horn of feeling, whether we have more silt or less silt, whether we have more cognitive space or less cognitive space, the conversion process itself, all going to happen then, of course, the handing of to the me gate, where the me gate we will ultimately decide, consciously or not, whether to accept this experience or not, on into memories. Well, when it arrives in memories, this memory is split in half. Half of it is our physical realm, half of it is our spiritual realm. And these memories are kind of all blended together. But what's going to occur is this experience that we've just pushed into our memories is going to transmit not only to our physical memory, our brain, but it's also going to transmit in reverse form back to the crown chakra, back into the branch that holds our stem, that our stem connects to. And so this experience that we've just interpreted is going to pass back into the tree, and then everything back, as we follow it all the way back into Yggdrasil, will now get visibility of it. Now, that's not to say that if, say, a god were on the other side, and a totally different branch, totally different piece, they couldn't have visibility of our experience. Well, that's not entirely true. As it enters into Yggdrasil, it becomes part of its blood. So much like our biochemistry is passing through our body, so too is our experience passing through Yggdrasil. In many cases, we see where multitude of people are present for an event or an experience, and so all of their experiences, all of their interpretations of that experiences will all blend throughout the tree somewhere and ultimately come together in a much larger, much more in-depth perspective of the event itself. So Yggdrasil is kind of grouping all of these together so that those individuals who are willing to listen, i.e., very much like Lengthen did by drinking from the well, they're getting a larger perspective, a larger collection of perspectives of individual events. This is really critical in us to understand that Yggdrasil is essentially showing us the way that we should look at each of the events in our lives. We shouldn't look at them with one set of blinders on. We should look at it holistically, entirely, right? So we should see every perspective, or as many as possible anyway. So this is super critical, because when we begin to look at life's experiences in that way, we then begin to understand that we can change our perspective. We can change the way we look at each individual event that's occurring in our lives. We don't always have to see it as a negative. We can change that and see it from an alternative view, from an alternative angle, if you will. So all of these things establish balance. And balance is what's so critical to our existence. Recognizing that the way we may have experienced something is not the way it is. Or, more importantly, not the way we have to look at that event. We can change. We can look at an event differently than what we did, right? So this is really a boon, if you will, to our mental health, in that we're not trapped into some depression or some anxiety. We can change it. We can alter the way we're looking at this. We're going to take a quick break here in just a minute, but I want us to make sure that we don't get ourselves tangled up in labels and in locking our perspective, not allowing ourselves to see a different way. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Before we do, the gods. We want the gods to speak, to give us a buoy, a guide, assistance. Let us draw our rune for today. Our rune for today. Uruz. 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 Uruz is a fantastic rune for today. Uruz talks about luck. Talks about directive forces. About us being in control and being able to direct something the way we choose it, not the way it's chosen for us. Uruz, I think, is the perfect rune for today because it tells us we get to be in charge. We get to make the decisions. And that's very important for you today. Is today you get to choose. You get to see how you want to look at life. Negatively or positively. It's up to you. We're going to take a real quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to take this information, put it on the road today, and help our mental health to establish a balance. We'll be right back after this short message.
Then Shared turns myth, memory, and modern minds into bold prints that change a room. See today's feature pieces and more with a link in the description.
It's happening.
It's in the air. The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me. It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
New reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
NewRealityTV.com.
Alight the morning fire. Blackout coffee, roast bold. Clean flavor for long days and late edits. Grab your bag. Use the link in the descriptions below.
These words are stirring something heavy in you. You don't have to carry it alone. Sliding scale spiritual guidance with sessions outside normal business hours is available through the Alaska ulfhednar. Visit akulfhednar.org/guidance to book a free discovery session.
Welcome back, and thank you for taking that quick break with us again. Today's show brought to you by Mountain Rose Herbs. Check them out and all of our other affiliates at akumedia.akoutlaw.com/sponsors. Remember, also, as always, we do have the chats open, chat window open. So if you've got a question or comment, don't hesitate. Throw it in there. If you don't feel comfortable and you're looking for another voice, by all means, check out our website, akulfhednar.org, or you can email me directly at shaman@akulfhednar.org. So all of those ways work to get a hold of me, and let's have a dialogue. Let's have a conversation. Today we're talking about the the Ash of Yggdrasil, and we're talking about our connectivity to this greater, much larger, greater reality that exists around us. And one of the things that I always take away from recognizing my connection to Yggdrasil is this idea that I don't always have to see things the way maybe society tells me, maybe the way my elders. We obviously see things differently. We see value and importance in a very different way than anyone else. And it's that difference that really provides us with a larger view of these individual events. I'm always reminded my ancestors when I first started to channeling, they gave me an image, a vision that there was a pool, a puddle of water, and 9 people stood around this puddle of water. And for us to truly understand the puddle, we'd all shift one. And so eventually you got back to your space, your original perspective, your original view of the puddle, and you would have had a vision of the puddle. You would have understood, all the angles that there was to see of the puddle. But it wasn't until I turned to the person on my left or to my right and I said, "What do you see in the puddle?" that I began this second level of communication, of understanding. Because now, not only was I looking at their particular perspective, I was beginning to understand their processing, what their interpretation of that puddle was. I began to understand a more greater view of existence. And it then began to be a very important part of my life, that I looked at each event and each experience that I had and said, is this the only way to look at it? Many times we are challenged with depression or something that may seem overwhelming, and we say, oh, I just can't see any other way to look at this. This is just horrible, or it's bad, or it's wrong. But then time gives us a different perspective. It allows us to reflect differently. And all of a sudden, this thing is not so horrible. It's not so bad. It's now surmountable. Time has given us a different perspective. Time has allowed a different view, a different angle to be presented to us in such a way that we say, maybe there is this other way of looking at it. Well, that exists for everything. Everything in our lives, our virtues, values, and belief systems are simply pre-programmed perspectives that either we or our ancestors or those with whom we've given some level of authority to have given us. So they too can be changed. We don't have to have the same beliefs, virtues, and values our whole existence. Matter of fact, chances are very strong that you won't. And that's okay. You're changing, you're growing. Remember, the rock climber on the rock face, as they look for new handholds and they look for that next evolutionary step, they can't get to that really comfortable one until they get to the space that allows them to reach that far, right? Same thing in your life. You're moving through the rock face here of your life, and you can't get to that next handheld, the one that you really want, until you arrive at the one before it. And there's a series of variables that's going to get you to that handhold. You may get to another handhold and say, wait, hold on. This one's not bad either. It's pretty solid. Feels pretty comfortable. As you move across the rock face. So everything in our existence comes to us for a reason. Comes to us in a certain time in our lives when we can appreciate it and can utilize it. Consider that as we go through our everyday lives. Look at things and try to imagine a different perspective, a different way to look at this. Continue that. It is what makes existence existence. Well, my friends, today is Mani's Day. It's the first day of the work week, and hopefully you are just charged and rejuvenated after a good solid weekend we are looking into this week. And certainly for those of you who celebrate the Julian calendar New Year right around the corner now, I wish you the best. I hope for you the most wonderful gifts Do understand that we will be offline for, I think it's Thursday and Friday. I don't remember. To celebrate the Julian New Year with our friends and family. I hope that you do the same. I hope you recognize that 2026, right around the corner now, offers us opportunities beyond our wildest imaginations. Whether we choose to look at the new year with dread, with just another year, just another part of our existence, or whether we look at it as an opportunity to change, to grow, to learn, to be. This is all about perspectives, and you have the key to how you decide to look at those events. All right, my friends, I wish you the very best Money's Day. We will see you again tomorrow, where we will embrace the courage of Thor. No, we won't. We will embrace the courage of Tyr, the god Tyr, within the Norse legends and lore, of course, being the god of justice and law and those things that mattered, and being recognized for his courage when it came to chaining Fenrir. So we'll look at all of that, and I wish you the very best Money's Day. We will see you again tomorrow, and hopefully you will have checked out your life from a little different perspective. Love and light, my friends.
Fulfillinos. Una. Hjälp oss med. Magnify. Tu för og. Kaliot.
If what we've touched today hits something raw for you, you don't have to carry it alone. We offer a sliding scale spiritual guidance with sessions outside normal business hours. Visit akulfhednar.org/guidance to book a free discovery session.